Hi, good day to all. My name is Subhash Sarlin. The topic of my project is noise hazard and hearing loss among mold manufacturing workers in industry in Penang. Let us review how noise is applicable when it comes to ergonomic. There are three domains of ergonomic which are physical, cognitive and organizational. Physical ergonomic is applicable to workplace ergonomic and noise is part of this domain. Let me give you all a short background of mold manufacturing. A mold is a cavity which gives a physical form for an object to a something in a form of molten or plastic. A mold may consist of components such as ejector half, hot half, sliders, retainer plates, water nipple, ejector plate, runner block, ejection spring, screws, and many more other components. A mold manufacturing industry may consist of processes such as CNC, heat treatment, surface grinding, EDM, CNC graphite, mold assembly, mold testing, mold buy-off, and mold shipment. A mold manufacturing process flow may consist process which produce high noise which may cause hearing disorder among its workers. There are some of high noise process within mold manufacturing process which may cause hearing disorder among its workers. Process such as tapping, usage of gun wrench, CNC milling, grinding, blower are some of the processes which produces high noise at workplace. Manufacturing of plastic and metal products had been causing high number of ONRHD among workers due to its noisy process. Dinan 2019 and Elizabeth et al. 2003 had clearly mentioned that the manufacturing had been the major contributor to workers to have hearing disorder. ONRHD includes hearing impairment, noise-induced hearing loss, and standard threshold shift. As per Hetu 1995, hearing disorder causes workers to have communication problem. People with hearing disorder have difficulty to hear what others are saying. They also have difficulty to hear any signal or alarm. Hearing disorder had affected workers' alertness which may cause them to be involved in accidents such as road accident. Hearing disorder would also cause them to have depression and social isolation due to inability to communicate with others effectively. Hearing disorder can be life-threatening and too serious to be ignored. The chart above shows on trend of ONRHD which had been reported to SOXO from 2008 to 2017. The number of cases of ONRHD had been increasing trend which proves that many workers are starting to develop ONRHD and submits their claim for SOXO compensation. This data is only showing on those ONRHD which had been reported, but how about those cases which are not reported? As we know, this is only the tip of the iceberg and there is more underlying cases which are not being reported by workers who are living with ONRHD for their lifetime. As been presented in many literature studies, ONRHD is preventable if all the relevant parties take necessary action to reduce the workers' noise exposure level at workplace. The general objective of my study is to determine the association between noise exposure level with the socio-demographic background, occupational history, and social lifestyle of the workers in mold manufacturing industry. I would like to put forward four specific objectives in this study. First is to determine the socio-demographic background, occupational information, and social lifestyle of respondent working in mold manufacturing industry. Second is to determine the workers' personal noise exposure level working in mold manufacturing industry. Third is to determine the prevalence of workers working in mold manufacturing having hearing disorder. Fourth is to determine the association between specific objective 1, 2 and 3. This is a cross-sectional study which carried out on 40 employees out of 72 in mold manufacturing plant in Penang. There are two groups of workers which are machinists and toolmaker in this study. This study includes workers with working experience 1 to 30 years, both gender and area with the noise level above 80 decibel. This study excludes maintenance workers, office workers, housekeeping workers and other workers from the office area. This table shows on the fulfillment of specific objective 1 and over here we can observe in terms of age 77.5% of the workers are equal or more than 30 years. Majority of them are male. And over here in terms of department we can see majority of the workers are from CNC steel and mold assembly. And in terms of role we can see majority of the workers are machinists. And in terms of years of experience we can see majority of the workers are less equal to 20 years of experience, and most of them are non-smokers. This table shows on the fulfillment of specific objective number 2, and over here we can observe that 57.5% of the workers had been exposed to daily noise exposure level less than 85 dBA, and 42.5% of the workers had been exposed to noise level equal or more than 85 dBA. In terms of maximum noise exposure level, we can observe 67.5% of the workers had been exposed to noise level less than 115 dBA, and 32.5% of the workers had been exposed to noise level more or equal to 115 dBA. In terms of peak noise, we can observe 30% of the workers had been exposed to noise level less than 140 dBc, and 70% of the workers had been exposed to noise level equal or more than 140 dBc. In terms of fulfillment of specific objective number 3, we can observe that 7.5% of the workers were having left hearing impairment, and 10% of the workers were having right hearing impairment. In terms of hearing loss, we can observe 75% of the workers were having left hearing loss, and 65% of the workers were having right hearing loss. In terms of standard threshold shift, we can observe 5% of the workers were having left standard threshold shift, and 5% of the workers were having right standard threshold shift. And in terms of overall, we can observe that 82.5% of the workers were having some type of hearing disorder. In order to fulfill the specific objective number 4, we can observe that only age was showing a correlation with left hearing loss, right hearing loss, left standard threshold shift, right standard threshold shift, and presence of hearing disorder. We also can observe that LEX, daily noise exposure level, was showing a correlation with the right hearing loss. By using chi-square, we can observe that none of the risk factors were showing any relationship with presence of hearing disorder except for age.
This study in the mold manufacturing had revealed that there are significant sources of noise such as CNC machine, surface grinding machine, air blower, pressurized air gun, and usage of gun range. All workers were observed wearing earplug at workplace. Hearing protection signage were observed at the workplace with high noise. The result revealed that the workers in the mold manufacturing were having hearing loss surprisingly at younger age. Age of the workers was most significantly associated with hearing disorder based on the Spearman correlation study. LEX was showing significant association with RHL. The data of the audiogram of the mold manufacturing workers were not showing NIHL pattern which notches at 4 kHz and recovers at 8 kHz. Workers below 30 years were showing pre-bicosis pattern of audiogram. Upon further probing, this study had revealed that the workers of mold manufacturing were having hobby and activities which had affected their hearing capability previously, such as listening to music, diving to collect pearl, and many more. This study had been showing the similar outcomes of the study which had been done by Mohammadi 2010, who had found there is a significant relationship between binaural hearing impairment and age.
I would like to conclude this study by saying that only age of the workers is associated with prevalence of hearing disorder. None of the risk factors were showing any association with prevalence of hearing disorder among mold manufacturing workers. And the hearing disorder which is experienced by the workers doesn't seem to be work related. So with this, I would like to recommend that the employer of the mold manufacturing take an effective intervention action to reduce the noise exposure level at workplace instead of depending solely on the usage of PHP. With that, thank you.